Good day everyone, welcome to Science Nook. This is your host, Tess Consulta Francisco. In this episode, we're going to focus on photosynthesis, but since this is a long discussion, we decided to divide it into 3 episodes. So in this episode, we're going to focus on the light reaction phase. Sunlight is the main source of energy of all living organisms. Plants can manufacture their own food with the aid of sunlight. That's why they are called producers or autotrophs, while animals that are dependent on producers and other living organisms as their source of energy are called heterotrophs. The light energy coming from the sun is a white light. With the aid of glass prism, this white light can be separated into different colors. The colors of the rainbow. Roy Chibiv, we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet colors. And these light colors cannot be absorbed by plants without the aid of pigments. So we have chlorophylls A and B and carotenoid. On this table, you can see the difference of these 3 types of pigments. So in chlorophyll A, the major pigment in photosynthesis, it helps plants absorb blue to violet colors. While chlorophyll B is an accessory pigment because it actually helps chlorophyll A from absorbing wider range of colors of light. But both chlorophylls A and B cannot absorb green and yellow colors. So basically this pigment is responsible for the green color of the leaves of plants. Carotenoid, on the other hand, is also an accessory pigment. It does not play any major role in photosynthesis. It absorbs certain range of color but reflects yellow, orange, and red color. What makes plant unique is that they have this organelle that is playing an important role in photosynthesis. This organelle is the chloroplast, which basically produces the chlorophyll or the greenish pigment in plants. And inside the chloroplast, there are certain parts. We have this flattened disc that looks like a coin in the picture. We call this as the thylakoid. This is the part where the light reaction phase happens. And stacking up the thylakoids together, we form granum. And if we have several stacks of granum together, we call them as grana, and the fluid that surrounds the grana is the stroma. So let's focus on the thylakoid. Inside the thylakoid, you have photosystems. We have photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. These 2 photosystems are a group of pigments and enzymes. Let me orient you on the raw materials that are needed in photosynthesis. So basically, for photosynthesis to go on, there must be raw materials. Just like if you're cooking something, so to come up with a certain dish, you need a certain ingredient. Same thing with plants. The raw materials that are needed in photosynthesis is sunlight. We also have water and carbon dioxide. And the end product of photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and water, including oxygen as a byproduct. Let's proceed to the light reaction phase. I know it's too technical, but I'll try my best to simplify it. Now, imagine that the light energy enters the leaves of plants, going to the chloroplast, and as it reaches the chloroplast, it's going directly to the thylakoid. As light energy enters the thylakoid, it's going to photosystem 2. This light energy that enters photosystem 2 will be used to energize the electrons. These excited electrons will go higher on its position, going to the reaction center. The reaction center is basically composed of chlorophylls A and B. As it reaches the reaction center, the excited electrons will leave photosystem 2, going to the primary electron acceptor. And let's hold it from there. Because simultaneously, as this process goes on, the other light energy that enters the thylakoid will also be used to trigger an enzyme that is just right beside photosystem 2. This enzyme is the water splitting enzyme. So as it is energized by the light energy, the water splitting enzyme will now make use of the other raw material needed in photosynthesis, the water. So it's going to split the water molecule into hydrogens or protons. We also have electrons and oxygen. Hydrogen will be left in the thylakoid. Oxygen, which is not needed in photosynthesis, will be given off by plants to be used by other organisms, the 4 electrons that are coming from the splitted water molecules will replace the lost electrons in photosystem 2. Photosynthesis cannot go on, not unless this lost electron will be replaced. And this is the role of the water splitting process. Now let's go back to the excited electron that is in the primary electron acceptor. So as it reaches the primary electron acceptor, it's going to leave that particular molecule going to the electron transport chain, and there it's going to move from one molecule to another. Its movement from one molecule to another causes this excited electron to lose their energy. And this is actually a good thing, because this lost energy will be used to push the hydrogen atoms going to photosystem 1. So basically, everything is going to photosystem 1. The excited electrons, including the hydrogen atoms. And in photosystem 1, the same thing that is happening in photosystem 2. There's just a slight difference. So a slight energy hits photosystem 1, electrons get excited, and these excited electrons will have to go higher to the reaction center, leaving photosystem 1, going to the primary electron acceptor, and going to the electron transport chain. Now, this is where the difference comes in. Now, in this case, the electron transport chain in photosystem 1 is positioned or angled in such a manner that it is slightly facing the stroma. And in this stroma, you have this molecule that is also very important in order for the light reaction phase to arrive at its end product. Inside the stroma, you have this NADP, or the nicotinamide adenine diphosphate. This molecule is highly reactive to hydrogen. The excited electrons are now moving, going to the electron transport chain. Together, the hydrogen is also being pushed to the electron transport chain in photosystem 1. And what happens is, since you have the NADP, it will react now to the hydrogen molecule, forming NADPH, which is the first end product in the light reaction phase. Remember that the excited electrons move from one molecule to another. This movement of excited electrons produces a concentration gradient, which will be used to produce a potential energy. And this potential energy is very important in the chemiosmosis process. Chemiosmosis is basically the process of making ATP. In the chemiosmosis process, there is an enzyme that is very important in this role. This ATP synthase will not be powered up, not unless the potential energy coming from the concentration gradient produced by excited electrons that are moving from one molecule to another is present. So as the ATP synthase is powered up, what it will do is to gather adenosine diphosphate and a phosphate molecule. Combining them together, we form ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. So there you go, we now have the end products of the light reaction phase. The ATP and NADPH, which will now be brought to the stroma, getting ready for the Calvin cycle. So that's the end of the light reaction phase. Once again, this is Tess Consulta Francisca of Science Nook, and before you go, please click the subscribe button for more Science Nook episode, and also please do watch the other episodes that are in connection with the light reaction phase.